Okay, so the next one is James Perus. James Perus. I'm going to put it here. James Perus is going to give a presentation about the SeaGIS project. If I may say, I was testing your product, was it last month or 2 months ago? And it's a very good product.
Thank you, Manuel, and I will come back to your opening presentation. First of all, make it clear, we are not dealing with Baltic Sea-wide planning, not national. We are now moving down to regional, local MSP. These were the aims when we started this 3-year project. Three buzzwords you need to keep in mind. We want to increase the knowledge, make it accessible, and do it in a data platform that is accessible. It should be a one-stop shop where you can find data if you're interested in doing MSP in this region. And let's see how this works. This is the region that we are working in, Northern Baltic Sea, in the Kvarken area. It's a strait, 50 kilometers wide. In our project area, there were 4 municipalities in Sweden, 12 in Finland, and they are very different in size. Umeå, 150,000 citizens, Kaskö, 1,500. So the planning capacity is very limited in these municipalities. So you need to have very easy methods of getting data if you want to start planning at sea. This is not a top priority for planners at the moment. So we need to make it easy for them to get started. This is how it could look like a couple of years ago. Renewable energy tried to get an area where there are two deep fairways to very important harbors going through the area. Those are non-compatible interests. This is data that you can get from Helcom. Excellent data, but perhaps a little bit crude and large scale if you want to go down to local planning. So we tried to develop a trans-regional GIS-based knowledge platform for storing data and making it accessible. And I will come back to this tool for communication, which is rather new idea. And we have tried using this platform, testing different scale scenarios or pilot tests, local, regional, transboundary. And we hope that this platform will also aid Finland and Sweden in implementing the Marine Strategy Directive. But the platform, we are working in an environment with 2 different languages, so we have to make it understandable in both Finnish and Swedish. Luckily, okay, now Manuel, I swear I hadn't seen his presentations, but he said that there were 3 challenges for MSP. It was harmonization, accessibility, and tool. I have all 3 words in this slide, so I think we're on the right track. Luckily, Finland and Sweden have quite similar methodology. So this harmonized styling between corresponding Finnish-Swedish data wasn't that big a task as we had perhaps anticipated. But otherwise, transboundary, user-friendly, meets Inspire, works in multiple coordinate systems. At the moment, we have some 550 GIS layers, out of which we have seen that perhaps 300 brings an added value to the process. We allow download of GIS data unless the data owner has said you can't share this. We allow that you can download it freely. Perhaps one thing that we could have improved is this VMS service. We don't consume the service, but we do export it. And I will come back to this communication tool. And yeah. So this is what it looks like when you go into this platform. Content, you can, if you're working in different GIS softwares, you should grasp this platform quite easily. It's very similar. You have the different tools. You can search either by region, or you can mark a line here and it finds all the layers beneath that line, or by regions, or by text. If you want fish-related data, type in kala or fisk, Swedish, Finnish, and it will sort through the metadata if those words are coming up, and put it on the map. We will have a public logon, so everybody can access this, but sometimes there might be classified data that only governments or public bodies can have a look at, and then we have some sort of hierarchy in who can see what. But the main idea has been always make it accessible and transparent. Also, if you have time series, same kind of data over multiple years, you can show it as a time series, like a movie, and yeah, well, those are common. Teams, we have tried to sort it into 7 different teams, or planning and strategies, cultural environment and recreation, industry and infrastructure, nature protection, environmental status, biology, and facts about the landscape. We have tried to make each layer visible only once. So sometimes it has been quite tricky to see where it fits best. It could have fit in many places, the same data layer. But say you're interested in Natura 2000 areas. You can export this data. This is no secret data. So you take export, then it asks you what coordinate system do you want to work in? Because many planners want to use the data in their own familiar environment. I'm used to doing work in ArcGIS software. Okay, you export it, we use old VGS 84 something, you choose that one. And then in what kind of format do you want? Esri, map info, or is it something that fits best in Excel that you want to import it in some other way? Metadata, we have put a lot of effort in describing the data. This really put a stress on our project because translating huge amounts of metadata into a second language really took time. And of course, attribute tables. Okay, this communication tool, this is what we hope will gain interest. Say some public body, government body wants to ask the public, where do you think new recreational areas would fit in your region? So the administrator goes in, creates a new errand. This takes 5 minutes. He checks what kind of data should be seen when you log on or want to make a comment to this. You can either choose every theme or choose the ones that are relevant. You put a question. Well, choose suitable areas for recreation or tourism. Then whoever logs on marks this area. I think should be nice for beach or something like that. You can either preset a couple of common themes or purposes, or you can make it text that they can describe what they have proposed. And then you save it, and then after a while, when this errand is being closed, the manager can go in, collect all the comments, and start planning. Another perhaps good purpose for this is that if some local community wants to plan a new fairway, small boat vessel fairway in the archipelago, the manager can go in, set up this errand. He or she who wants to propose this new fairway goes in, marks the line where he thinks this fairway should go. Using this background data, he can already in an early phase see what areas perhaps are not suitable. If there are very sensitive areas or something, perhaps it's not worth proposing this fairway in that area because the manager will later on reject his proposal. But the rejection can this time be seen on the map. Okay, your proposal was rejected because you have used this area which is not suitable for your purpose. So we hope that a greater acceptance for the decisions from public bodies can be gained by using this kind of visual tools. Okay, administration. Cost, we anticipate, or we have already a budget that about 10,000 euros per year to uphold this service. It's not very much if it's split between two countries and state organizations or local organizations. So it shouldn't be that much to use if it's worth upholding. We anticipate 4 to 5 organizations in this region that will have full administration rights, upload, update GIS data, or make these errands. And once this platform has been built, the cost for expanding it to wider regions shouldn't be that high. But I think we should have the focus on regional, local level data, very detailed, high accuracy, because national planning is handled by other organizations. Okay, so somebody said yesterday that MSP is just a tool, it's not a miracle. We have had problems. First of all, we had as a policy that we will not pay for the data that we request and put here. We could perhaps agree to the handling cost of extracting data from platforms, but there has been some agencies that has wanted tens and thousands of euros for having their data visible on this platform. And we didn't have the budget or the will to meet such requests. Sometimes the data owners have chosen not to show the data due to the low confidence in its accuracy. This is quite hard to understand, because if this is the data that they use for their decisions, why don't they show it? We spoke also yesterday about trust. This is perhaps not trust if you don't show the data that you form your decision on. Data might be classified, national intelligence, military and so on. Sometimes we have gained data, but we have had to settle for a coarse resolution. Transformation of data, this perhaps came as a surprise, because sometimes data owners send their data to another agency who then transform the data to fit their services. But sometimes this transformation might perhaps be done in a less accurate way. So when we ask this second agency for the data and transform the data with many parameters back to the original coordinate system, it didn't fit. It positioned itself wrong on the data, on the map. So this has been really a big nuisance for us. So in many cases we have had to go back to the original data owner instead of this other one-stop shop map service. And of course, working in different countries and perhaps on a time scale, there has been a lot of coordinate systems to meet up with. But then the successes. We were very fortunate to get a very good consultant who was very patient with us biologists, because biology and technology doesn't really speak the same language. So this consultant really allowed us to evolve from our original ideas, and we are very thankful for this. We think we have very low costs for upholding a service like this. We have really put an effort to make the administration of this platform very easy, and we hope this public communication tool will be something that agencies and governments will use, or perhaps for something that they need to know, or communicating between each other, because this is more or less online service. Somebody puts a plan on the platform, and the other one can comment on it on the web at immediately. And since we have a very diverse content in this platform, I think this could really serve tourism in the region. Now you know where are the shipwrecks, where are the lighthouses, where are the sea scenery, where are the boat slips where I can get my fishing boat up or down to the sea, and so on and so on. So I think this is a great opportunity to increase how you get into the marine areas or the archipelago, and what can you do there, what can you see, what's out there beneath this blue surface. Also, last year, HELCOM released a new classification scheme for underwater biodomes. We have done a regional model of this and also a risk analysis. What kind of I have to check the word now. What kind of actions have what kind of effects? If I want to dredge, what are the biotopes that are very sensitive to that action? So if this is a decision support for planners who are not biologists or marine biologists. So if they know that they want to dredge, then we hope, we haven't finished this one, that if you say dredge, it should highlight those biotopes in this model that are very sensitive to that action. So a planner who is not that familiar with marine biology should get information, okay, this is an area where dredging might really have negative effects. We have done the model, we have the risk analysis, now we just have to get it onto the map. And I have already mentioned this diverse content. I think this is a good tool. I hope it will be used. It has already gained acceptance in another EU project called Nostra. This is a EU project that is focusing on strait areas. Areas like the Kvarken area, neighboring countries who have a huge deal of cooperations and so on, but need some kind of platform or tool for exchange of communication, exchange of data, and so on. So I think that this was recommended as a best practice in that project. So I think the idea is worth fulfilling. I think we are on the right track here. And hopefully the project ends now in October. This year we will have our final seminar in Finland, Vaasa, on the 26th of August. And by then I hope we have fulfilled all our aims. So, and these were our partners, but thank you.
Any question?
If you had shown me the red card, I would have done like Pepe in the match.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that you have all the... Thank you for an interesting presentation. How do you make sure that you have all the data that is needing for the different topics, and how do you make sure that the data is updated? And a second question, the GIS system you presented, is that built on open source technology? Thank you.
First of all, you never know if you have all the data. And as I said, what we hope still to fulfill, or perhaps if you have a SQL project, this VMS service. So it speaks between databases. Now we have to update data manually. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that the activity is not that high in this region yet, so the updating of layers isn't that work demanding yet. But this is still manual, and we hope that this VMS, VFS service will be also consuming. Second question, which one was that? Open source, well, this is affiliations to a biologist, but I think the language is HTML5, and we have used a Chinese software called Super Map IS or something like that. So, but because this cost for upholding this service, we are buying this service now from the consultant who built this database. If we would have wanted to do it by ourselves, we would have had to purchase the license for this Chinese software, and the initial cost for that was too high, so we hope that spreading it over years will decrease the cost.
Thank you. Just one remark. You said that you never know if all the data is there, but if we, for instance, are going to have a marine spatial planning system from an agency approach, we have to have the approach that if the data is not there, it's not because they're not available. Otherwise, we can't plan.
Pilot testing, yeah. No, but I mean, we have had great cooperation with the planning agencies in this region. So the data that they are using when planning at the moment, perhaps most terrestrial, we have gained everything that they have. But also that there are some sectors that they don't want to share their data. I was addressing the fisheries at a meeting and said that you have to get on board on an early stage. State those areas that are important to you, so they are in the planning process. But the obstacle was, and the response was that if we say what areas are important to us, there will be a nature protection area there in 2 years' time. So they didn't want to share the data in this initial phase. So there are some issues of trust still that hasn't been solved.